everybody, we're up to our last presentation of the day on philosophy of Rick and Morty. Our next group is Jasper's group. Jasper?
Good morning, my name is Jasper, and in my group is Alex and Rob. And today we'll be talking about the philosophy of life, meaning of life, basically. And my topic is subjectivism. What is subjectivism? What does it mean to be subjective? So, does anybody want to try and give that a shot? Do you know what subjective is? To be subjective? No? Okay. So to be subjective means to be influenced by one's own personal beliefs, not really logic. It's just kind of based off of what you feel. So your logic is pretty much what you think of it. It's not really like the facts. And that's pretty much like the main part of subjectivism. So what exactly is subjectivism? So subjectivism is a philosophy that is pretty much saying like your life is what you think of it. It's what you make of it. There's no religion, there's no this, there's no that. It's pretty much what you make of it. And that subjectivism is actually really frowned upon, but a lot of people can kind of relate to it because religion is really kind of subjective because you don't really know what's true. You don't know, like there's no facts going back to really back all that up. So I guess religion is pretty subjective. One very famous philosopher that studies subjectivism was George Berkeley. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard this, I'm pretty sure you have. There's like this quote that he said, and it's, if a tree falls in the forest and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound? And what that basically is saying, like, okay, you know that the tree fell, but how do you know it made a noise if nobody was there to hear it? Like, there's no facts, right? There's no facts. You can't really prove the facts because nobody was there to hear it. So that's like a really famous question or quote that people tie into subjectivism. And this theory denies the existence of material substance and instead contends that familiar objects like tables and chairs are only ideas in the mind. So it's saying like, that's like extreme subjectivism though. So it's basically saying like, is all this stuff like really real? Like, how's this stuff in here? So yeah, that's basically subjectivism in a nutshell. And I'll pass it on to Alex.
Okay. Hi everybody, my name's Alex. I'm going to be talking about nihilism. So what is nihilism? Nihilism is often associated with extreme pessimism and radical skepticism that condemns existence. A true nihilist believes in nothing, has no loyalties or purpose other than perhaps the impulse to destroy. Nihilism has no truth or meaning to be found in the universe. So we have these feelings called love, happiness, joy, freedom, hope. All these feelings are some type of myth that kind of help us cope with the empty void that centralize our reality. A little bit of a history of nihilism. Nihil is Latin for nothing or not anything, and the verb annihilate is meaning to destroy or obliterate. So that word became popular because of a German philosopher named Friedrich Jacobi. He used the term nihilism negatively to characterize the transcendental idealism, but mostly the term nihilism is known for Friedrich Nietzsche. So he describes nihilism as it has no objective order or structure in the world other than what we give it. There's this quote that I found of, he said that every belief every considering something true is necessarily false because there is simply no true world. And there was this philosopher that I read that his name is Oswald Spengler, where he studied the different patterns of nihilism, where he later learned and found that indeed nihilism is a conspicuous feature of a collapsing civilization. And there's this quote by Morty in the Rick and Morty where he was talking to his sister just to stop freaking out about her life, and that he was pointing that my dead body is in the backyard and like I'm just like moving on and like living and making the best of it. He said that nobody exists on purpose, nobody belongs anywhere, we're all going to die. And he's like, come watch TV. So basically what I learned from nihilism is that nihilism, it doesn't necessarily mean you just give up, rather than just moving on and living a life in a largely uncertain world. So yeah, moving on to Robert.
Well, I'll be talking about simulated reality. So in Rick and Morty, episode 4, the whole episode was about these aliens trying to get dark matter fuel from Rick. They capture Rick and they somehow also capture Jerry and they put them in simulations. During that episode, Rick says that basically in that simulation, as they're moving forward, everything in front of them is being rendered and everything behind them is also disappearing. And I'll be going in talking about 3 guys that also talk about simulated theories. So the first guy is Nick Bostrom. He came up with the idea of simulated argument, which the 3 arguments are all simulations at our state of technology development go extinct before technological maturity. People that is advanced enough to create simulations, they don't care about ancestor simulations. Basically, they're so advanced where they won't matter about like what they care to simulate the past when they could just look into the future. And the last one is most certain that we are living in simulation. Moving on to Elon Musk. This is just reference to Rick and Morty. Basically, he's in an interview and he's talking about simulations, and he brings up the idea about 40 years ago how it was just a game of Pong where it's just 2 bricks and a ball just bouncing back and forth. And then today we have almost augmented reality and virtual reality. And then he says that with our technology that's advancing so quick, we will sooner or later have virtual and augmented reality where it's not undistinguishable from real reality. And then the question brings up is how do we know if that hasn't happened in the past and that we are actually being the one that's simulated? And the last one is Han Mordvik. He talks about future artificial intelligence. Basically, he says that if we were to create artificial intelligence, that the robots will obviously have to think about what their steps are to do a task that they were assigned on. So most likely that the artificial intelligence will come up with some scenarios in their head and play everything out, so basically simulations. So they'll bring everything to account and then filter out what is not necessary in their mind. And then they'll run through each scenario to see which is the best step for that task. So he also brings up, like, if that was the case, what if we're in the robot's thought at this moment in a simulation and he's trying to see what's the best steps or what's going to happen right now for him to finish that task. Last is just another example, The Matrix. Basically in that show, they create artificial intelligence that's powered by solar. They go into war with one another. They're not exactly sure. Morpheus, he says they're not exactly sure on who started the war, who attacked who. But the humans, they covered the sky in hopes to cut power from the artificial intelligence, the robots. But then the robots, they find out that the humans are a very powerful energy source because they have bioelectricity and thermal energy. So basically all the robots and artificial intelligence enslave all the humans in these pods to power themselves. And then there's a couple guys that come into the real world trying to save it. So, and then going off of that, there was other talks about simulations, basically restraints the computing power is a problem. But then there's an idea saying like to cut back from using so much processing power and all the computer power that it needs, the reality can be just whatever you see, the shell. So anything else that's not necessary is cut out. So as just like us right now, bacteria, we don't see it, we're not looking at a microscope to see it. So hypothetically speaking, if someone was to look into a microscope, that bacteria can be instantly created at that moment just for them to be seen. So basically, they're just making it so whoever's in the simulation believe that it's real. So another example is the chair that you're sitting on. So right now, it'd just be a hollow shell that's all you need to see, because that's basically it. But right as soon as you break it open, that's when the internal structure is created. Thank you.
Cool. And actually, could I add? I just want to add a couple more things. So going based off of Alex and Robert's topics, I feel like all of our ideas kind of conclude into like the same type of thinking. Like, for instance, what Robert was just saying about the chairs and matter and all that, I feel like it all ties into subjectivism and also Alex's topic. And also what Alex was saying, I feel like her topic ties into mine as well. So the meaning of life, it's like you don't really know, basically you don't really know what it is. There's not really a meaning to life unless you create one yourself, which is conclusion to basically all three of our topics. And that's about it for our presentation.
Thank you.